I said hello. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm here. Um, quick pause. It looks like I'm audible, but you're not in the Twitch. I think you might still be muted on your end, like for your in your OBS. Let's see.
Okay, now I should be unmuted.
There you are.
Jeez. So I was sitting there rambling along. Nobody could hear me. Wonderful. Okay, anyway, to recap. Hello, everybody. I'm joined by Storm. Rail is not
Hi-oh.
feeling very well tonight. Witcher 3 is borked because they patched it, so we're going to play something a little different. We're going to play a game called Kingdom Come Deliverance. Some people like it, some people don't. I kind of like it. It's different. Um, but we kind of like it, so we're gonna play it. So now I have to figure out how the hell to see if that fixes it. Ah, all right. What have we? What are we?
But yes. Oh, and be sure to just stream to Discord as well, so that I can see all the things before the
All
audience.
of the medieval war crimes. Is there such thing as war crimes in medieval times?
Yes, actually.
Really?
Yeah. There were a lot of like around if, uh, taking of hostages versus just killing people outright, etc. Um, if you, for example, took enemies prisoner and executed them without, say, the orders of your king or without the certain right or privilege to do so, you were seen as essentially killing in the king's name without the king's permission, and this was considered a treasonous act. They didn't call it war crimes, but there were laws around how you conducted warfare.
I don't know if that applied in every situation,
Well, yeah,
but
it most certainly didn't. I mean, hell, it barely applies nowadays. But, like the general point is that there were rules. Whether they were followed or not is another story entirely.
I don't follow the rules.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I don't remember if I did it or not. Nope. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah. Blah. Blah.
Oh
Blah.
yes. Let me inform the Ox that we're doing the thing.
Blah.
It's interesting. It's kind of an empty day in the Ox.
Yeah. I know Tex is doing Ultimate Admiral, which is funny as hell.
Ah, yes.
But yeah, it's kind of a blah day today.
Oh, it's also Monday.
Oh, did you see Iceland is exploding?
Yeah, all that. Hope they're okay. Also, metal as hell.
Oh yeah. It's like out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, good, good.
Yeah. I mean, the capital city is visible on the cameras, but for all intents and purposes, it's pretty far away. So
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
everybody's fine. Everybody's safe. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's not like a Plinian explosive eruption. It's like a kind of a calm. Is she my horse? Yeah, she's my horse. My horse's name is Olena.
Because a horse is a horse, of course, unless her name's Elena.
She'll give you the answer that you endorse.
Oh my.
And she's not on a steady course because I can't drive worth a damn.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Oh.
I've been spending all day working on the lesson plans for my class that I'll be teaching, and then learning Unity because, well, that's the system they use. So even though I'm teaching them audio production, I do have to know how to install that audio production.
You have my deepest, most sincerest condolences.
It's actually probably a good thing to learn, all things said and done, but it is new to me.
Unity is not a terribly great game engine. Some people try to defend it, but it's just not that great.
Mhm.
For anything else,
Apparently, it's the relatively universal one, but
it's used heavily because it's so cheap.
I see. Parentheses free in this case, but
No, it's not. It's not free, but for people who publish games, it's substantially cheap, and they don't take as big of cut as say like Epic does with the Unreal Engine, and apparently the Cry engine was a real pain in the butt to to actually work with. So that's why
I've never seen you before in my life. That's odd.
it's not that common. And Bethesda bought.
I'm Sir Robar's messenger. He's sending me to Uzi.
Okay, that was what I was told to say.
He's been giving them trouble.
I might believe you if I knew who you
But yeah, the ID Software guys were bought out by.
You know who I am. I have to get.
Do you think I'm a
bought out by.
On the other hand,
Bethesda.
so nicely, and it's a shame to let it go to waste. The old man won't like it.
I won't give you any.
Then you've just.
All right, we'll try that again. I love that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, piss. Piss buckets. But yeah, anyway, the Quake engines are basically the ID Tech engines aren't really available as far as I know for use anymore. So you're basically down to Unity, Unreal Engine, and Cry engine, and probably another two that I'm not remembering, but something along those lines.
Yeah, there's Unity, Unreal, which I believe is more archaic at this point. And then, yeah, a couple of others.
So, you shall profess to noise.
Yes.
Yes. Alright, let's try this again, jackass. So how was your weekend?
Good day to you.
That was mostly okay, just busy
Is there
and
someone here who
had a bit of a headache through some of it.
For anything else, but he can get.
Stress?
that business
No, lower back muscles had to do my stretches and such, which I hadn't been doing. Problem is that when my back tightens up, it starts pulling down on the neck, and then the neck starts pulling on the head, and then I get these tightnesses in the back of my skull.
Maybe a few groschen would keep.
Well, that's
you from
not
worrying
good.
About things that don't
So
concern
fortunately, it wasn't one of the migraines. In this case, it was just pretty normal bleh feeling.
you. Agree?
It'll take more than that.
So yeah, one of the things that attracted me to this game was that
Now you're speaking my language. Good luck, man. Try not to
it
get
was
yourself killed.
what do you call it?
God be with you.
It's
Focused on real. It's focused on realism in a way that's not derp.
It's a
Like a
little. The combat is a little on the wonky side, but it's doable. One of the things that I did, because it annoys the living shit out of me, is you know how base game when you first start using the bow, like it's all over the place.
Mhm.
That just drove me bonkers, so I just straight up modded that out. So basically what it amounts to is when you start out using a bow in this game, like it won't, go all over the place, but your damage is going to suck. So
Yeah.
it kind of, adapts for the whole, can't hit shit to, well, now I can actually hit shit, but I'm not going to do a hell of a lot of damage. So, but yeah, I couldn't stand that. I'm also not really good at melee either.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You'll have to wait for me here, friend. I have to keep going on my own.
but yeah, the, I mean, it's not like a sim, but it's a substantially more realistic game than other offerings that have been out there, which I can appreciate. So
Yeah. I also like that your character feels like by the time he gets up to where he's actually a badass, he's earned it.
yes,
And that is probably some of the price that you're paying with the whole, it's not exactly an easily accessible game.
yeah. So the one thing that I think is parts floor meats. Would you like some floor meats?
Ew.
So I'm not clear on how much time should have passed at this point. It's clearly not a lot, but because, the bodies aren't, putrefying and all that other stuff. But on the other hand, dude got shot through the fucking leg with an arrow and he's just humping around like, nothing happened. So that part kind of annoys me a bit, but, eh.
Mm-hmm. I mean, layers of realism, levels of realism. You have to make some concessions for it to be a game.
And that's basically how I made myself okay with it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, especially when you see, it's very much a kind of game where almost anyone else takes an arrow, they're gone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, I stole the bow, so that means if we look up here, we can see there's a ne'er-do-well right there. So what we're going to do... Yeah, I know I'm not good with a bow. Shut up. The game likes going, you're not very good at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go right on over here, and I'm going to just... Oh. Never mind. Okay, we're going to stab him.
Hey, who's there? Who's there?
Pick it up. Pick it up.
What's going on?
Pick it up. Oh, I have to steal it.
Who's there?
Combat, blah, 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 blah. Stab, 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 stab. That didn't work very well now, did it?
You are now Mr. Stabbington.
I am. Okay. Kill him or no? He's a bandit and a looter. What do you think, Storm?
Kill him.
Come here. I must stab you. I must... Oh, shit. I think he's going to... Yeah, I can't catch him. Henry's too much of a milquetoast at this point, so...
Yes.
But yes, I concur with your decision. Oh, I think I know why. That looks like it hurts, dude. You okay? You okay?
Yeah.
I mean, That looks like some kind of wonky chiropractic there, you know.
Not the ideal situation to be in.
No, it's really not. All right. I remember what I was going to do. I was going to see if. Yep, that's why. I'm too low of agility with the with that sword I had on, so that's why it was draining my stuff so quick. So this also makes me wonder. This is another gap in my medieval knowledge. Mm-hmm. Who actually cleaned up, like, after the like in a sack of a city like this, like where everybody would have been wiped out? It happened, but who would have cleaned up all the bodies?
So you usually would have for jobs like that, and it did depend somewhat, because people not wanting to do jobs like that meant that there wasn't always a system in place for it. But a lot of times that cleaning up would have been done by a combination of the soldiery and of, like, low-class servants that were brought with them. And the reason for that is the soldiers knew that if they were going to occupy a city, they had to get those bodies out of there so that, you know, plague didn't begin to fester.
Yeah, otherwise disease would have gone rampant and shit like that.
But if they had, say, you know, camp followers, that kind of job was usually left to the camp followers and the Levite soldiers. The other thing to consider there is that sometimes if the city was burned down, things were taken, the city wasn't being held, they were just left there. Like, there are some cities that, you know, there's a reason that there was superstition around, like, a city destroyed like that was cursed and filled with ghosts, and part of it is because a combination of, you know, there would be plague, there would be, you know, corpse rot everywhere, bad air, and while that isn't exactly a scientific term, I mean, there's something to be said for breathing in.
No, corpses. that was miasma theory that held until germ theory was figured out. Yep.
Yeah, but they're still breathing in, you know, corpse rot, and things like that. And there's also the fact that sometimes buildings would collapse and there would still be, you know, fire smoldering under collapsed material. What a lot of people don't realize is that because we have modern firefighting methods, some fires can go on for days and days inside of the building.
Oh yeah, and fires can continue underground too.
Oh yeah, we have some that continue,
like the Centralia mine fire and all that crazy shit.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So, like, it really kind of depended on who did it. Like, if you were, say, talking about a Greek army, then it was straight up their slaves that would follow them. But if we're talking the medieval period, it was usually the camp followers, who are usually people who lived by, you know, acting as servants to whores, to cooks for, etc., the army.
Yeah.
What you would think of as your logistics personnel in the modern sense. The efforts would usually have been spearheaded by any priests that might be with the army, because that was kind of...
I was going to say, so I just watched two things recently that they're kind of along that lane. One of them was a thing about the Battle of Visby, and they were doing stuff on the battlefield afterwards, like all the archaeology to try to figure out like where the actual Battle of Visby was. And ooh, noble shoes. Ooh, that's mine now. And apparently the monks came out and buried most everybody after that. Like, whoever wasn't claimed by, you know, relatives or whatever, it was the local, you know, the local monks would come out and do stuff like that. And then the other one that really made me think about when you were talking about like abandoned cities and stuff like that, I was watching a piece on the it was about Xenophon when he was a mercenary as part of that group that was working for one of the Persians who was, this was, a bit before Alexander and, about 100 years or so. And he was part of that army and their leader got killed and the guy they were working for got killed. And they're like, fuck this, we need to get back to Greece. So they elected all the captains. Xenophon was one of them, and they were basically running like hell across Turkey to try to get to the coast so they could get home. And they stumbled through the capital of the long abandoned Assyrian Empire. I don't remember what the name of the city was, but it basically had been abandoned for centuries. And they stumbled across two of those abandoned cities of the Assyrians, and Xenophon wrote about it. But anyway, the whole point was, for some reason, you're talking about that made me think about that.
Yeah, I think the city was Kala or Kala, which I believe the Romans and Greeks later called Larissa.
Actually, I might be wrong because the Hatti comes to mind, the capital of the Hittite Empire, because that's where all the Hittites were. So I may be wrong. It may not be the Assyrians. It may be the Hittites that I'm thinking of. Because I think Hatti was abandoned at some point. Actually, during the Bronze Age collapse.
Come to me, Google.
Meanwhile, I shall murder more bandits. You bastard. You're gonna die because you are a murderer and a looter. Actually, no, you're not. You're gonna escape because I can't catch you.
Yes.
Oh well.
But yeah, it's definitely not a pleasant time or topic.
Nope.
But that is the history of the world, as it were.
Very much so. This next part that's coming up right here always stuck with me when I played this game.
Used to buy a side with this to you. In the end, you were a hero.
Not this guy. That's the Deutsch.
Oh yeah, when they're like even the German stuck around and fought to the end, and
This part right here.
Oh god, yeah, his girl.
Yep.
Bianca.
It wasn't supposed to be you, Bianca. I'll find the bastard. Just wait a minute. I'll take care of my parents, and then I'll come back for you. I won't get
That is some
Yep.
shit, as it were.
It is very much. All right. And now the feels.
Yep.
All the feels.
They ain't good.
No.
Finding the parents.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that would have been less than likely about this story, though I say less than likely, somewhat overstating it, his parents might have had a better chance to survive than anyone else in the town. Because unless you were just there for destruction's sake alone, in the case here, it does seem like that's why they were there. Then there was always a strong chance that you would want to take people like, the blacksmith alive.
Yeah, you want to take valuable individuals, generally speaking, but of course, once a siege, enters the final stages and you're actually invading, I mean, it's pretty much loot ahoy time, and
Yeah.
Sigismund apparently really did have Kipchaks with them, and they like their looting and raping and pillaging and stuff. So yeah,
Brutal time with brutal people.
yes.
Yeah. It's interesting how much history there is in, say, like something as as small a place as Bohemia, which is kind of a, to many people, sort of forgettable section of the world when you're thinking in the big broad terms of history.
Well,
But it's a crossroads region.
it is, and it doesn't hold as much for most of your average Westerner, I guess I should say American, who's at least aware of the rest of the world.
Well, because not many of us think about Czech or Slovak history as being part of our history.
Well, right, and that's because so much of our history is tied with Roman history.
Roman history, British history, German history, Irish history.
Well, just the old Roman world, which encompasses all of those things, generally speaking.
Yeah,
so it's like, okay, Roman. Yeah, they done trashed our home. So anything that's associated with Roman history, and the eventual successor, the Catholic Church and whatnot, that's all stuff that, it resonates with us because that's closely tied to our history. But Rome got to the Rhine and, they kind of stopped because, Varus and the ungovernable Germanic tribes and blah, 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 blah. So that's where they formed the limes of the empire, and everything beyond that was just scary dark forest. Oh, I remember what I was supposed to do. It was all scary dark forest. So much of that doesn't really start to appear in, Western history until you start to get the Christianization of, Central Europe and Eastern Europe and whatnot. And then it really starts to show up in our histories. But, stuff beyond wild Germania, Eastern Europe and Russia, it really doesn't play a big part of the Western, history.
Yeah.
So, just for a little bit of background, I did not participate in throwing poop at the Deutsch's house.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not get into a fist fight with this dickwad.
In God's name, you doing?
What do you think I'm doing? Digging turnips? The beast just went for me.
Isn't that the butcher's? Isn't that body the butcher's?
Yeah, that's him. What's that got to do with anything?
Yeah, he's protecting
I'd
his
say the
master.
poor creature is standing guard over his master. You weren't trying to get to him, were you?
What do you care what I'm doing? What are you doing?
Came to bury my parents.
So bury them and leave me be.
Do you know what happened to Teresa from the mill?
As one thing I
The human.
do like about this is, it's like,
They meant to violate her. God knows what else.
No, I don't. What do I care? They probably raped her and killed her like all the others. Or a misfortune. Right now, I've got to take care of myself.
As much as I want to really hate this guy, he's probably in a lot of shock, and given everything that's happened, his reaction is understandable.
How did you manage to get away?
Yeah. Well, and it's just hitting me how, like,
I ran.
this is all very truly probably what someone's feeling in this kind of moment.
To dig a grave.
Mm-hmm.
Can't find another.
What's it worth to you? I see you have a fine sword.
My father forged it for Sir Radzik.
Go right ahead and dig that grave with your sword. See,
Father
I'm
said
not
he
gonna
wanted to be
rise
buried
to
here,
that.
but I can't take the God willing.
Okay, have I disturbed your looting or fuck you? Which one?
Have I disturbed your looting?
I've interrupted you robbing the dead. Is that why you're so ill-tempered? Haven't you got a shred of honor?
and what of it? The butcher has no more need of corn. And now that I think of it, your sword would do me quite nicely as well.
Okay,
Will you
now
hand me
you're
over without a
getting.
sword, or
Now
end up
you're.
like the butcher?
You're gonna get your ass beat,
When
son.
you touch this sword, is when I'll shove it in your guts.
So that's the way of it. Not without a sword, huh?
Or
Toodles.
is just... Yeah.
Oh, so good boy. Oh, so good boy.
You know me.
Oh, so good boy. Oh, so good boy. I will take the money just because it's useful, and I will leave everything else. All right, shovel. And I will see you again soon, buddy. Oh, so good boy. Yeah, I mean, obviously they had to take a lot of liberties with this game as far as it being a game and all that, but I do like the general, I guess, attempt to adhere to, historical,
Yeah.
I don't know, the historical theme of things.
Yeah.
This is a good place. You're gonna like it.
So, when you played this, were you like full on honorable knight, or did you like have no problem stealing shit and all that kind of stuff?
I think I did go down the route of he had no problem stealing, but he was honorable in terms of not murdering people and, not, what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't play, a brigand.
Okay. Yeah, there's a couple individuals that I don't have any problem stealing from, like
Yeah.
the rich asshole armorer and swordsmith and the place we end up at, because they're assholes.
Yeah.
He's holding his composure better than I think I would if I were in his shoes.
Although there is to bear in mind that he is still to some degree in shock. And probably comes from a people with a more brutal sense of, life and death. But
Well,
yeah, no, I think at some point he'd probably break sooner than not.
Well, so now that you mention it, the other thing that another one of the historical podcasts that I was listening to was talking about how people in the Middle Ages were far more okay with the idea of death.
See the sword.
Who are you? What do you want?
I don't even know if they were more okay with it so much as they were more used to it.
Franciscan brothers. We're here to rob you of everything.
Ah, yes,
you've
this
got.
guy.
Especially that fine blade that's of no use to a peasant like you anyway.
Banish the thought. It is my father's sword.
You mean him? I don't think he's going to be needing it.
This is not gonna go well.
You hand over that sword, I might just let you go. If not, you're in for a family reunion you really don't want.
Leave me alone.
Kill him, Runt! Aye, cut the bastard down. As you like. Could have just cost you a few teeth. Ah!
And I will say, I actually really like his design as a villain. Like, I hate him. He is a terrible human being. But it really does make him properly villainous.
God damn!
Yes. Ow.
I told you how it would end. You should have listened to me. This is nice work. The chief is going to like it. It's new, isn't it? Now, for the maiden bloodletting. Surely your father never would have imagined it would be your blood. I believe there's a word for such moments. The old man would certainly know. But I'm just a common killer. Did you help make it? No doubt you did. Such miserable luck. To die by the sword you helped forge.
Hey, go fuckers!
I like her a lot. She is spunky.
The games are over.
Yeah, I did part with it, didn't I?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll toss your shit on the cart. That was a really nice touch that they finished doing what he came there for.
Helped him bury the body.
Yep.
Yep.
I also ended up taking a liking to Hans Capon, the privileged little shit.
Yeah, well, the fact that you actually, like, get to know him and he gets to know you, and you start to realize, okay, he's not a bad person, he's just spoiled.
He's the epitome of first world problems, medieval version.
Yeah. I do also like his uncle, the Lord, who, you know, is
Hanush.
honestly kind of a shit heel of a human being, a great shit heel.
Yeah, he is, but he's funny. He's like a good friend, dumbass, but I don't get the impression that he's like a bad lord.
That's what I mean. Like, you know, he's tough, and he kind of have to be. You know, he's from a world that, you know, is much more violent, so he has to be much more, you know, unflappable.
Where am I going? Where am I going? I'm going this way. La da 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 da.
Haunting dream exercises.
What is going on here? What are you all doing? I'm going to punch you. Come here. Yar, yar, yar. Oh no. Oh no.
Do you need some help?
They probably would have survived if his mother was at the house.
Henry! There's work to be done. Wake up, Henry. It's past sunrise. Henry, can you hear me? Get up, Henry. Wake up. It's a new day. Henry, can you hear me?
You are dirty.
Hallelujah. I thought you'd never wake. Were you having a night?
I am dirty.
Teresa?
You still have a fever. Uncle won't be pleased, but you'll have to stay in bed.
Is the game
Oh.
loud enough
Where am I?
on stream?
Playing loud. Oh, let me check stream.
Skalitz?
We're at my uncle's mill in Rattay. I didn't know where else to go.
What happened?
It's a little quiet, but not
Remember
like
anything?
problematically
I
quiet.
suppose that's not surprising. I found you in Scallop. But you were still breathing. Why in heaven's
Hey,
name?
you're with the miller's daughter now.
I knocked it up a
Everyone who didn't
notch or
run.
two.
My parents.
Yeah, let me check that again.
I wanted to bury them. I had to.
Don't worry. I took care of it.
Thank you.
Any good
Okay,
Christian
there
would
we
have
go.
done the
Yep.
same. Now
That's a
sleep.
proper volume.
You'll need your strength back.
A few days later.
You're awake.
Good morning.
It's near midnight. You've slept all day.
Oh. Oh, I feel like a horse fell on me.
The beating you took was worse. But at least the fever's broken.
How did you manage to save me?
You were lucky. I was in Skalitz and I saw Zbyszek and his thugs. I tried to distract them, but it would have been no use if those soldiers from Tamburg hadn't arrived. They were searching for you and scattered the bandits.
What in the world were you doing in Skalitz?
Waiting to die.
What?
I like that line
Killed
too.
all my brothers. My family.
This whole conversation, this part of the
Friends.
conversation string, this is really poignant.
All of them. Everyone I ever loved. They killed one of my brothers in the mines. After that, what did I have to live for?
Don't say that. There's always hope.
No, there isn't. But it doesn't matter. I'm a different person now.
Searching for me?
Yes? Lord Divish sent them, led by Captain Robard. So tell me, why is a lord of such high standing interested in a blacksmith?
So Divish promised Sir Radzik he'd look after me. But as for why they should care, I've no idea. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
If I recall, it turns out he
I'm
isn't
surprised.
exactly
I'll
who
bring you
he
water
thinks
and
he
something
is,
to eat.
but
In
Correct.
the meantime, rest. You're
uh,
still very weak.
in case anybody's watching this that hasn't played, I don't want to spoil that. Or at least spoil what all is
Morning to you.
implied.
How's the invalid today?
Because it's a bit more
Not as
complicated
good
than
as
the
this, they
normal
lashed me
answer.
to the wheel and quartered me on the town square.
Got your sense of humor back. You must be better. My uncle will be glad to hear it. I had a job persuading him to let me bring you here. If you'd lain around much longer, he really would have dumped you on the town square. You can stay until you find somewhere else to live, but my uncle will want payment for taking you in and caring for you.
And this is your uncle's house?
We're in Rattay Mill. My uncle's miller Peshek. He took me in, and I talked him into taking care of you too.
I've been lying here long enough.
Her uncle's the one that kind of starts you down the possible sort of,
But are you truly
for lack of a
bad
better
enough?
term, thieves guild
Well enough
quests.
to do what
Yep.
has to be done. Where can I find Sir Radzik?
He's in Lower Castle in Perkstein. He's a guest of Sir Hanish of Leipa. But someone like you can't just walk up bold as you please and demand an audience.
I know Sir Radzik, and I didn't bring him his sword as I was supposed to. I must see him.
If you insist. But you need to speak to my uncle first. You've been in your sickbed for over a fortnight while he paid the apothecary to tend to you, and for medicine. That's a good deal of coin you owe him.
I've been
Yeah,
telling you this
that
all
is,
week. My God.
as much as the uncle comes across as kind of a
Eternity in the grave.
jerk,
If it weren't for my
you
uncle, you wouldn't be here.
do realize, of course, how much he's sticking his neck out to
I
keep
owe
you
both my
alive.
life.
He's pragmatic.
I'll repay my debt.
Mhm.
Alright. But before you go to town, you should eat something. You're still weak. There's food on the table for you.
There's our storage. Okay. So we're gonna go and just stick all that crap in there. We're gonna stick the books because I can't do anything with the books yet. I'm gonna stick all this stuff in there because it doesn't matter what the hoot. Boots. I'll leave those in there. Okay. We'll call that good for now. Yum, yum, yum. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, let's talk to this guy. Hi.
My name's Henry.
Thank you.
for taking care of me here.
My name's Peshek, and I'm the miller here. You've already met my niece, Teresa. She took care of you for 2 whole weeks while you were in limbo. And talking of you being at death's door, while you were lying here, you worked up quite a bill with the bloodletter, who came now and again to keep you alive with his potions. That quack doesn't come cheap. I paid him what I could, but I still, that is, you still owe him.
I see. Well, it's better to be in debt than to lie dead in a ditch. What do I owe? I'm not afraid of hard work.
You won't pay for that shoveling manure. I might have a better job for you, but it's not something any fool can do. If you prove to me you're a clever lad, I might trust you with something you could really make money from. What do you say?
Well, what would you need from me?
A trifle. Just to take something from someone and bring it to someone else. And not get caught while you're doing it.
That sounds straightforward enough. Except for not get caught. Why would anyone want to catch me?
Oh, don't worry. It's just a job like any other. Only this one requires, let's say the right moral disposition. your corpse.
No honourable man should touch them. That's the executioner's job.
Did you
You
expect
should have
I'd
said
give you a
something
hoe
like,
and send
only
you
if
out
they're
to the fields?
properly smoked and
You can
salted.
dig, all right, but somewhere else. I want to know whether you're going to hide behind some stupid fucking scruples, or if you might be useful for more unconventional work.
I was prepared for just about anything, but that's a bit much. But go on. Tell me more.
Listen, it's about this ring my mate Witty, the Kohelnitz miller, had his eye on. Trouble is, they buried the ring by the gibbet along with the villain they hung while he was wearing it.
Jesus Christ. You want me to dig up a corpse, take a ring from it, and give it to your friend in Kohelnitz? There's nothing sacred to you.
Money first, morals later. That fellow is dead. He won't miss it. Whatever bleeding heart came up with the idea that it's disrespectful to disturb a corpse never read the Bible. It's still a human body, only it's missing a soul. Why be disgusted by something created
Yeah,
by
he's
God?
quite the pragmatist.
I think I've
Okay.
already heard more than I need to know. You've got the tongue of the devil himself. If you tried hard enough, I bet you could justify sodomy with a goat.
What's your man?
Forgot about that
There's a
line.
shovel around the hill somewhere. If there's any problem, come and see me.
I do so
And
enjoy
here's something
the
on the
smoke.
side to make me dig better.
Thanks. I'll need it. Can't believe I've come to this. Digging up corpses.
Oh, and watch out for the executioner and his hounds. They're pretty savage. And I don't just mean the dogs. You can just throw them some meat. The dogs, that is. But the executioner? Well, don't vex him. Good luck to you.
Roger. Yeah, I got all the deals. I knew. Plants. The plants, the plants, the plants.
Yes.
Yes, it was very good. Did you bake it yourself?
I did. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Why are we so dirty?
Because you're a dirty boy. Dirty, dirty, dirty.
I am not. I'm not playing on never beach. Yes. Look at my armor. Do I not have any pants on? I don't think I have any pants on. That's great. Oh, shut up, boy. All right.
Lady Macbeth, do you think I have a plethora?
What?
Nothing. You heard nothing.
I mean, you are quite the copious. You know. That ass, you know.
Oh my.
Oh my.
We don't have an HR director. I can't do anything.
You enjoyed it.
Rumored Herald. Whacker. Rail. Storm. Sadly, Rail is not here this evening. He is not well.
He is indisposed.
So we didn't want to continue on Final Fantasy X without him. However, unfortunately, The Witcher had an update which borked all of Whacker's mods. So we have to wait a little bit before we continue on that.
Yes.
So we are playing Kingdom Come Deliverance because I've played it before, Whacker's played it before. It's an interesting point of conversation.
We're both history nerds.
Yes. So, welcome to Medieval Bohemia. Or as most people nowadays would know them, Czech and Slovakia.
Czechoslovakia.
Well, that's no longer a thing.
It is now.
No, it was, and then it broke apart again.
It is again.
Wait, what? Are you seriously?
No.
Okay, because I'm going insane as you make these jokes. You fool. You mean.
No,
You're mean.
we are children of the Cold War.
Who are you?
Yes.
I'm Henry, son of the Skalitz blacksmith. I'm going to see my liege, Sir Radzik Kabila of Dvoyas.
Of course you are, lad. What do you want in his
You don't look like a very good
Do you
pope.
think he'll see you?
I may not look the part, but I know about honour and duty. And mine is to tell Sir Radzik what happened to the sword he commissioned.
Alright then, go ahead. It'll be your skin if Sir Radzik isn't pleased.
Blah, 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 blah. Oh, this guy. I love this guy. I punched the ever-loving shit out of him.
Yes.
That's some good times. Oh, you two survived. Very nice.
That be the smith's son, Hal.
On my soul, it is him. What are you doing here, lad? We thought you were done for.
I must speak with Sir
I
Radzik.
might have been. If God
Yeah.
didn't have a sense of
He's in the
humour.
palace with Sir Hanush of Ratai. They're feasting in the Knight's Hall. What do you want with it?
My father made him a sword. He asked me to deliver it to Sir Radzik.
I don't see any sword.
No. Bandits attacked me and stole it. I need to tell his lordship what happened. And then I'm going to find the sword.
Of course you are, Hal. Good luck.
Thanks.
I love how they're like, there's no use trying to dissuade him, but,
Well, they're all kind of bros, apparently, so...
yeah.
What is down there? A shitty experience.
Oh. How pitiful.
Hi.
What the hell do you think you're...
I love doing that.
Yes, I got that thing you sent me. It is, oh, right. So, Rimward here had a horrific, mean, just terribly cruel idea, which makes it perfect for running a D&D game. Since I'm running an all-dwarf game, a mimic that pretends to be a flagon of beer.
Deep fucking
That sounds diabolical.
Don't you agree?
I might not have put it as eloquently as you, Hanush, but I've been driven out of my own castle, so I'm hardly going to disagree.
Indeed. But Birkstein is yours for as long as you need it. There's room enough for your men and you here at Rattay, and I'm sure my ward won't have any objection to me lending you his castle.
I'd be honored. Pechstein is at your disposal as long as you wish, Your Grace.
Just as well you have another castle at the other end of town, eh? At any rate, I'm beholden to you, Sir Hans, and to you, Sir Hanush.
I don't like to speak ill of your people, Sir Radzik, but, well, there's no love lost between the townsfolk and the refugees. There's been talk of criminality.
Yeah.
Well, they'll have to get used to it until the situation's resolved.
But when will it be resolved? And what on God's earth is this?
Oh, I don't like all this
I won't
fighting.
lie,
It
sir,
disturbs
I don't
me.
understand it.
You aren't alone, Father. I believe Sigismund's intention was to persuade Wenceslas to accept the imperial crown and to leave the rule of Bohemia to him.
Who could blame him? I know Wenceslas is a friend of yours, Radzik, but even you have to admit he brought it upon himself.
I can't deny the king neglected affairs of state for other pursuits. There is a need for order in the land, but I don't think the lords who sided with Sigismund realized just what Hungarian order looks like.
Hungarian order.
What concerns me, sir, is how a good Christian could resort to such brutality.
To give him
Bro,
his due,
where
I
have
don't
you
think he
been?
expected the lords of this
This
country
is
to
the
stand
Middle
behind the king.
Ages.
But thanks to him, we're tearing ourselves apart, and now he has to get things under control.
But why in God's name does he have to use those barbarians?
Money is the root of all evil, young sir. Wars are costly, and this one has dragged on for a year. Sigismund ran out of coin for knights, so he recruited those whore sons that settled in Hungary. The less he pays, the more they make up for it with plunder.
That's why he attacked us. He was after our silver.
What are you doing? You've no business here. Clear off.
Wait, it's Henry. Henry, who disappeared after I clearly ordered him to remain at Townburg.
I'm sorry, sir, but I had to bury my parents.
Had to? Do you think you were the only man who lost someone there?
I like
The
that
others
guy
listened
too.
to their lord.
And it wasn't just your own
Both
life
of the
you nearly
captains
threw
are
away.
very
So
kind of
Robard
no
and his
bullshit
men risked
guys.
theirs to save you.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I had to.
Oh, there you go. When you have to, Radzig.
Your father was a remarkable man. She was remarkable too. They deserved a Christian burial. Did you manage that at least?
No. I was attacked by thieves. I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for that girl.
Girl?
The miller's daughter, Teresa.
The miller's daughter saved you from the footpads? Oh, there's a tale to tell you, children.
I owe her my life. She distracted them and then brought me to Ratai. But without Sir Robard, we'd both be dead.
Oh, that's what I call a good woman. Hang on to that one, lad.
Still, it's a great shame your parents are buried in unconsecrated ground. That means
Oh,
purgatory
fuck
for them.
you.
Be quiet, Friar. I didn't invite you here to eat me out of house and home and deliver a sermon while you were doing it.
If you're so concerned, Father, maybe you should save the innocent souls of these fine Christians yourself. Go to Skalitz and consecrate their graves. I assure you, if you're killed by bandits, your soul will soar straight to heaven, as long as someone buries you in consecrated ground first.
That's a
If
pretty
there's
good
anything
fuck
left to
you.
bury, that plump carcass of yours would be quite a feast for the wolves and the crows. And one skeleton looks much like another, so how would we know which were your ordained bones or those of Sigismund's Tartars?
Be that as it may, why have you come here?
I must get your sword back.
Sword? My sword hangs here at my side.
No, the sword my father forged for you. One of those thieves stole it from me.
They almost killed him and he already wants to go back.
Takes after his father, I suppose. Lad, I've lost a castle, a village, silver mines, and a good half of my... Why would I miss one sword?
Because it's the last one my father forged, and I promised him I'd deliver it to you.
I understand. I'd feel the same way. But prudence is the better part of valor, and a dead man keeps no promises.
Aye. The woman had to save his fat from the fire, and now he wants revenge. What kind of fool are you, boy?
He's no fool. Henry, you have courage, but you need training, arms, a horse. Or do you mean to beat this thief at dice?
No, sir. Please, take me into your service and give me the chance to learn these things.
The gall of him. Fled from the enemy, disobeyed your orders, duped Sir Divish, lost your sword, put Sir Robard in danger with his actions, and now he wants a promotion.
That's
Okay,
legit.
Right.
What you say is certainly true, except for fleeing the enemy. You would have run as well, believe me. Henry's earned some punishment. How do you punish someone who's already lost everything? Courage and blind obedience are good qualities for a soldier.
You know what kind of punishment he needs, Storm?
Also appreciates loyalty, perseverance, and
A
determination.
throngling?
A good,
Besides,
solid
he's a fine sword,
spanking.
Father.
Oh
If he
my.
thinks he can get it back, I won't turn it down.
My lord, he's a peasant. You can't make a squire of a peasant.
Why not? Someone made a priest of a pig.
He isn't a peasant, Father, he's a blacksmith, and recent events have left me in need of his skills. So, would like to enter my service?
Sir, Yes, I would. You won't regret it.
Oh, I probably will. I'm doing this for your father, lad. Don't disappoint me.
Oh, fortune has finally smiled on you today, lad. Make the most of it.
Now that I think about it, Sir Hanush, the boy needs training and experience, and you need spear carriers.
That's true. Bailiff is always complaining about your people making trouble in the camp. Maybe one of their own among the guard might help.
It might. In any event, it will prove valuable experience.
But let's be clear. You're the one paying him. Captain Bernard, see to his training, and then send him to the bailiff. Yes, sir. And don't spare him.
You can rely on it, sir.
Don't forget, Henry. Don't disappoint me.
I won't, my lord.
It's a right positive family moment. Now kick his ass!
Stab him.
In the booty. Except not the booty. We want his booty intact.
I mean, he already had it punctured once, so... I always found... What?
In some ways, I should be relieved. I get an at me from Toilet Obliterator, and I go to see what it is, but it's just a Rickroll.
I mean, that's legit.
Yes.
Food.
Reginald Peabody von Thrunglebottom, I suggest you behave yourself. Ah.
Apples, 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 cheese. Food, 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 food. You've discovered a baker. A tavern. Oh, that's a good point. I should go do my stats. Manly odor. Do you have a manly odor, Storm?
What? Yes, I do.
Increases the time you can do that. That sounds useful. Player strength. That's useful speech. So apparently the Highborn trait is the best one to get because most of the meaningful talking you will do is with nobles, so...
Yep.
Washy, 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 washy. With horse spit. Nice mustache. Oh, forgot. There's a cross.
And it made you rather cross.
No, it's just it's a cool little thing to look at. So I'm actually kind of square.
It's not here.
Actually, no, I'm kind of round.
Well, that's fair too.
Rotund, as it were.
Oh.
So the first time it happened, that quest around, what's his name? Was it Black Peter? The quest around the guy?
Oh,
yeah.
Are you talking where they like dress him in like?
No, the blacksmith whose son died mysteriously, and he asks you to look into it in the tournament. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I did not know correct path to get the resolution to that until I looked it up later. But we will kindly do the needful when it comes to that. But I believe that doesn't start until we get to one of those cities on the western edge of the map. And I need a horse first.
A horse, a horse, a horse, of course.
Talk to Mr. Storm.
Oh.
Oh, this was the other fun part. I really liked the alchemy aspect of this game. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, it adds a necessary game element while also keeping it grounded in, the kind of setting it's trying to portray.
Yep.
I'm feeling as good as new.
What my game design friends would call a good dynamic.
I want to learn to read.
There's a retired...
About that debt.
Here you are.
Thank you. I'm glad...
What kind of governor is Sahana?
Yeah, I'm just going to blast through these because all they do is they give your speech skill stuff.
How do the Ratai...
Blah, blah, blah. The people don't get along. The humans are bastards.
Yep.
The one other thing that's really odd is I like how they've got like the shop guards. I thought that was a cool thing, but it's really stupid that you have to lockpick to break in here to use the... Oh, never mind. I thought you had to break in. Okay. Well, that's good. We'll fart around with that later. I always end up buying the recipes first instead of, like magically looking it up on the internet so I can figure it out. So we'll buy the recipes later. Yeah, the swordsmith is an absolute dick.
Yeah.
I got no problem stealing from him. But now we must return to bed. One mod I've been looking for, but I can never find is I want something that causes the bandit camps to respawn much faster than they do. Because I do enjoy raiding me some bandit camps. But I think they only respawn like once every 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah. Which is inconvenient.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get your murder on.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, do I have the shovel still? Do I still have my shovel? I do not, so I have to take this shovel. What the hell was I gonna say?
You were going to say something fancy.
Oh, I was going to ask you a question. What is your favorite arm? Your favorite weapon?
RL or in this game?
In this game.
In this game, once you finally get to one, the halberd.
You are a pull arms manner of individual.
Yeah.
I always find myself quite partial to the longsword.
Mm-hmm. Sensible.
Because, I mean, who doesn't like dressing up in full plate mail head to toe and, hacking at people with a big, giant damn sword,
Yep.
Although pole arms are definitely a good time.
Yes. They bring me a happiness that I heretofore did not know.
That's good. There's the mushrooms. There's the red cat fly agaric.
No, I can't remember. You're not a night owl, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Like IRL?
Yeah.
Usually yes I am, but my sleep schedule is turbo fucked because of everything. But yes, I am quite a night. I'm generally a night owl.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be running a game on Thursday nights for some people, and I am hoping to try to get 1 or 2 more players. So if you were interested in doing a Thursday night game.
What manner of game?
The title is Snow White and the Seven Sons of Durin. The short version is...
Do I get to be Snow White? I am kind of pale, but no. That doth sound intriguing. That's gross. That's gross as hell.
Well, but yeah, no, it's a Waldorf game, D&D 3.5. The other players are Paladin, Mr. No Talk, Lictor, Abaddon the Despoiler are my 4 yeses thus far.
How late are we talking?
It would be at midnight.
Starting at midnight?
Yeah, part of the timing is because Lictor is Israeli.
How long do you foresee the game going?
Probably about 2 or 3 hours each time we sit down to play.
No, like how many weeks or months?
I don't know.
Because I can give you a yes. It's just you're gonna have to, I'm hoping to resume the whole employment thing. Within the next few months. So if that changes at some point, you may have to turn my tune into like an NPC or let somebody else play it or something like that, which I'd be fine with. It's just,
yeah,
you should be aware of that and be prepared for that. But
yeah.
So are we all going to be dwarves? Is that the thing?
Yeah. I leave room for one person to be half dwarf. But generally everyone should be a dwarf. You guys will start out at level 4. Parentheses, you're kind of already veterans, so this is no one's first rodeo, but you're not necessarily like elites either.
Okay.
Christ wounds, what a fucking stink. How long have you been lying here? Nothing on the left hand. The right? Oh shit, there's nothing there either. Where the fuck is that ring? Oh, that stench makes me want to puke. Peshek will pay for this.
It's not seasoned enough.
Yep.
Also, are you going to be able to do this? I mean, if you're going to start like a teaching thing, I was thinking that you're going to have to possibly kind of fix your own sleep schedule so you're not staying up so late.
The shot is I'm teaching in the afternoon. But yeah, no, it is definitely something where it would be with a warning that, like, you know, all of our real lives, you know, can come in and kick our asses from time to time. So, like, there is always that element as well. So, Rimward says, having done both, or used both in HEMA, battle axes and halberds. And Kriegmesser, which is a fun weapon.
That means war knife.
Yes. It's a big happy knife, made by people who couldn't legally call them swords.
Oh, his yard is full of cocks.
Lol. You are a naughty boy.
What I just said is a completely correct, objectively correct statement.
And with that in mind, I shall have to punish you.
Punitive?
A punitive measure, of course, my son. It ought to learn you.
Now, if nothing is taken this long into my existence, nothing will.
Oh, okay.
17 world wars.
In front of the moon, Kaiser.
They're up there. They're kicking their feetsies. They're kicking their little feetsies, and yeah. I forget who the hell is this. Oh yeah, this is this house over here. The other thing that I did to make the game far more enjoyable and amusing for me is I changed it so that you remember how the animals would all like run away super fast when you got too close to them.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of waddle now. So, you could punch a sheep in the butt.
Punch him in the butt! Punch him in the butt! Punch him in the butt with a baseball bat!
Every human, standard human behavior. Punching sheep in the butt. Punching cows in the butt. I'm waiting for nightfall to go rob the executioner.
Yes. It's almost like that's a bad idea.
I mean, Peshek did say don't fuck with him.
Yep.
I wonder if he's asleep yet. Actually, I may not be able to do this because of the dogs. Speaking of which, how's Mr. Gibbs?
The Gibbons. He's actually doing very well. He has begun to kind of acclimate to living here. You know, it's very unusual for him at first because, of course, he's, you know, from a rescue shelter. He doesn't always fully understand, you know, why we do some of what we do, but he, you know, has, like, begun to adjust to the whole, like, you know, we don't piss inside the house for reasons.
I mean, you don't, but I do.
Mein Gott.
Yeah. Poor little nervous boys that can yeah.
But yeah, no, he's doing quite well. He is the world's best pupper. He is also pound for pound probably one of the strongest dogs I've ever met. Which, like, you know, granted he's only 14 pounds, doesn't say a whole hell of a lot. But, like, boy can pull with enough force to, like, tug me and Dad along if we're not careful. And he is excitable.
Well, isn't he part Chihuahua?
Yes.
Or mostly?
No, he's a full bred. He's fully Chihuahua.
So he's kind of spastic.
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. Alright. We are going to just move our happy little asses right on up to the mill. Hello. I'm home. I still don't think I have any pants on.
You use terms like think rather cavalierly. Do you have pants on or not?
I shall not tell you.
Oh, okay. What you shall do me is tempt me to misbehave.
Yes. That is how we do.
That is, me boy. That do be how we do.
Alright. Forget which one is supposed to be mine. I think... I think this one's supposed to be mine.
I will be right back. I have to use a bio break.
Okay.
Fellow, you can't sleep here. Go and find a bed of your own. Out!
I thought it was my bed, you...
You can't be serious. Sleeping in other people's beds. Get out or you'll be sorry.
Oh, shut up.
What do you think this is, an inn? Get the hell out of here.
I kind of live here, bro.
You think you own the place? Snoring here?
Ugh.
Hey, get up off of that bed. You've no business here.
Which one is it, Dingledorf?
Get up! What are you doing?
No, shut up. Get
There.
out of the road. Get out of the road. Get out.
You can't be serious. Sleeping in other people's beds. Get out or you'll be sorry.
I have returned.
You've returned what? A book?
Yes.
Peshak kept yelling at me for God knows what reason. I don't remember which bed's supposed to be mine. I thought it was this one. Maybe I was wrong. You woke me up pissing and moaning at me.
My respects to you.
There was a corpse in the grave, but no ring. What the fuck is going on?
Easy, Hal. Hold your horses. If the ring wasn't on the corpse, the executioner must have taken it before he buried the body.
I can see where this is going. You want me to get the ring from the executioner?
Clever lad. Only I wouldn't recommend talking to him about it. He's a bit touchy on the subject of robbing the dead. It'd be better to pinch it from his house.
All right, I'll go and find that ring.
It should be in a trunk somewhere in the house. And look here, Henry. Do you know how to get past a lock?
Get past the lock? You mean jemmy it off with a crowbar?
No, you don't. I mean the delicate, gentle art of opening it quietly and with sensitivity. Like opening a young maiden's chest.
This game, no concept of chill.
I haven't had a chance to try that yet.
Fucking hell. How did I get landed with a cretin like you? I have to teach you then. Come with me.
All right.
Hold the lock with your right hand and use it to feel out. Got it? Good. Now turn the whole lock with the blade. But don't stop holding the tumbler with its head. Otherwise, you're a dab hand, Hal. Make something out of you yet. Remember, this trunk's only practice.
Okay, now I want you to teach me to pickpocket. Pickpocket. Pick, 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 pick.
Hey, lad! Don't you want a little wager on the rat for me?
Yeah, when I eventually start fighting in it, I will. Oop.
Can you tell me something about the other millers?
There's a couple of other fellows.
Tell me about Witty.
He's young and hot-blooded with a short temper. Unfortunately, he got...
What about this Simon?
An odd one he is. A loner who don't talk much. But he's...
Tell me something about yourself.
There's nothing much to tell. I was born at the mill.
Can you tell me... What's the local law?
Sahanush?
What's Sahan's K-pop?
I did not know this, but apparently, like the bright white conversation options are ones that you haven't done before, and those are ones that will give you speech experience.
He's a grumpy bastard, but fair, I'd say.
What about the Skalitz folk?
God sent them to punish us.
What do you think about every...
I don't concern myself with... I don't give a damn who...
Do you know anything about those...
The heathens.
What's the local law?
Oops, I didn't mean to do that.
That's all.
Farewell.
Apparently he won't teach me about pickpocketing yet. Well, shit. What time is it? It's about 7:30. Well, I don't know about you, man, but I'm actually thinking about calling it here.
Yeah, it's a low energy day.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us, Rimward, and whoever person number 2 is. Just kind of a slow day today, so.
Yep.
We wish you all well.
Yes, we thank you all for farting around with us this very slow afternoon. That said, if you do wish to get on YouTube, I don't remember if anybody's coming up after me.
On Monday night now.
Doesn't Dragon Axe come up after me?
Oh, yeah. No, he does. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Sunday.
So I believe in, I think 2 hours actually. It's either near an hour or 2 hours. Dragon Axe is going to be up, and I believe he does Blood Bowl, right?
Yeah, Blood Bowl 2 with Mr. Night Clerk.
So y'all come on and come back for that, and also for those of you who are interested, the there's a volcano in Iceland that just started to erupt this afternoon, and I was there watching it literally when it started. Too bad you couldn't see the damn vent. You could just see the smoke. But if you get on YouTube, they've got a bunch of live streams out, which is really, really cool. And also, Iceland, it's like the longest time of the year to the point where the sun doesn't go down, so the darkest it gets is like, dusk for us, like barely dusk. So it's basically sunshine all day long, so you can see everything that's going on. Anyway, for anybody who's interested in that, you can check that out too. So we are going to call it now. Thank you all for joining us. Again, Dragon Axe will be on in an hour or two, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Say good night, Storm.
Good night, Storm.